Hello, I'm Forrest, and this is my channel, Nervous System Rebuild. And today, I'm going to talk about self-trust, building self-trust. And specifically, I'm going to talk about building self-trust as a energy body clearing skill. And so this is pertaining to folks in the cycle of transformation and in the last mass community, and those of us that have the clearing skills. This video is not about what that is, if you don't already know. This is like a very niche video. And yeah, so I'm just going to jump into it. I will link stuff below about the cycle of transformation and the last mass center, so that if you want more information about that, if you're just like stumbled on this video and you like what I'm saying, then you can go look those things up. Okay, so I have been practicing energy body mastery and energy body clearing for centuries with the cycle community and last mass center, and I regularly guide people or hold space for people. I either like walk them through clearings, or I just sit and hold space for people in a lot of different capacities. Had somebody ask me this question recently, and that was, he kept getting stuck in his in this clearing. I was holding space and he kept getting stuck, and what was coming up was confusion. He was like, I don't know, why am I getting stuck? And like what we found, we kind of like peeled into it a little bit, and what we found was that he had a really hard time trusting his current self. So like something would happen and he would be like, is this right? Oh, is this real? Is this blah? Like, and that's a big deal, right? Because if you're in your energy body, clearing, we're going into our energy body, and if you're in your energy body and you can't discern what you're maybe making up, where you're going into story, or what's actually like a past memory or a self wanting to be cleared, like that's going to completely prevent you from being able to do the clearing, right? You're not going to be able to bring that dissociated or marginalized self back into the present moment if you can't discern with your current time self. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that and why that might be the case. This is not totally comprehensive. This is not like every possibility. It's just like the most obvious possibilities that we discovered in our conversation. Okay, so this is all about our relationship to ourselves, and we could call this like our ability or our secure attachment to ourselves and our ability to rely on the trust that we've built in ourselves. I thought I saw a spider on the ceiling. It's just it looks like maybe a hole in the ceiling. I don't know, a little tiny hole. So I said that. Okay, so number one is, well, step 0, we want to be able, in our clearing practice, we want to be able to take what we call a stone, or our entry point into the clearing. We want to complete that. That's like the most obvious statement in the world. And it's very, very, very like duh. But when that can't happen, it's telling us information. So we don't want to skip over that. And we don't want to go into, oh, I'm so bad, I can't do this, I'm not good at this, and blah, 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 like a whole judgment, shame, blame, judgment, guilt conversation about that. Because it doesn't, it like prevents us from being able to create the opening or the whatever little shift needs to happen so that we can actually get to the end point of the clearing and pull that marginalized self, for instance. It's not just marginalized self that we're clearing, but that marginalized self, we want to pull it back into present time with us. So we want to complete that process. That is our goal. We don't want to leave clearings just with all these like loose ends out in the world. All right, so now step one is our self-trust. How do we know if we trust ourselves? Another obvious question. Where are we right now? So locating ourselves in time and space right now with what is our daily practice. And our daily practice is whatever we're doing. We all have a daily practice. Whether you acknowledge it or not, you have one. And it is what you're doing every day. Again, another, maybe this alternate title to this video is like Forrest states very obvious things. So what are you already doing? What if you're waking up and you're grabbing your phone, you're clicking your alarm off, and then you're doom scrolling, and then you roll out of bed 2 minutes before you have to leave the house, and then you're getting coffee on the way. That's your practice. And it's maybe, I don't know if it works for you, cool. If you don't like what your practice is, guess what? You can change it. And that is an invitation, a formal invitation from me to you. So I'll talk a little bit about my daily practice. And my practice, what I have found works best for me is I have the main components. I have like components that I know I'm going to do every day. But what works really well for me is just having those components and letting them kind of fall in the order that they fall in. So what I do is I wake up. I might have an alarm, I might not. I make tea. That's the most important thing. And then I do the daily practice, which is a writing and meditating practice. I do some kind of energy body chi cultivation work, which might be qigong. It might be, I don't know, something more chill. Not that qigong isn't chill, but sometimes I just need to like be really, really mellow. And then I have a series of call-ins that I do for some shrines that I tend. I tend my own altar and like my ancestor altar. I open that every morning. And I also tend a Crazy Woman shrine. If you are not in the cycle or in the Shadow Transformation Protocol or at Last Mass Center, you won't know who I'm talking about. But for those of you that are in those communities, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I also do a lot of writing because I am a writer, and I pretty much, sometimes I wake up and it's just like, bam, get to it, and I have to just sit down and write immediately. And so first writing happens, and then those other things will happen. And that just is what works for me, is to let it be a little bit fluid in that way. Okay, so the next part is, one way we can define self-trust is integrity. And I don't know if I made a video about this. I feel like I never stop talking about it, like to all my friends. But integrity is my word for the year, this year. And this is like, I just keep coming back to that in any situation. And I have had so many situations already this year that are like, do I have integrity? Do I say that I have integrity in this situation. And I am making that decision. I am not looking for that integrity to be reflected back to me. It's me and my relationship with self. And the way I define integrity is doing what I say I'm going to do by when I say I'm going to do it. And that's, I mean, that's like it. My neighbor is mowing or leaf blowing, and I hope that Zoom is canceling that sound out for you. So doing what you say you're going to do by when you say you're going to do it. If you practice this, so if you're a person who has a lot of self-questioning and you find yourself being like, oh, I don't know, and like really indecisive about stuff, my recommendation is to take this on for like, I mean, it doesn't have to be a long time. You could do like a week and see what shifts. Or you could do, I don't know, for the whole month of August, I'm gonna just practice doing what I say I'm gonna do by when I say I'm gonna do it. And then if that can't happen, because sometimes that can't happen, right? If that can't happen, then you make other, you like revamp the plans, right? You go like, oh, okay, well, I said that I would have that done by that deadline, but that's not going to happen. But I can do it by this deadline, and then you stick to that deadline. So perhaps you might have just noticed a little gap in your practice. And you may have there's a couple little points where you might have fallen in a hole. And one of them is that you go into blame, shame, judgment, guilt whenever any of this stuff comes up. And then the next one is that you're not in integrity with yourself. And so both of those are just good information. Again, they're not like, it's not like shame spiral about it. It's just like, oh, well, I was just judging myself, and now that I'm not judging myself, now I can like do something about it. There's another piece of this that might be coming up, which this was definitely my case. And that was having some discernment and naming and claiming around certain nervous system dysregulation symptoms or CPTSD symptoms. And those could be anywhere from like you're in black and white thinking, or you're in the inner critic, outer critic, and the inner outer critic are keeping you, they're like, you're such a butthole, or you're such a butthole. It's like the outer critic is everybody else is a butthole, and the inner critic is I'm a butthole. Like, and it's like final, and you have no redemption beyond that. And that's kind of how I notice that I'm in the inner critic, where I'm like, oh, it's not like I'm discerning. It's not like I'm judging, using good judgment and discerning. I'm actually just like, everybody else, or yeah, I'm such a blah. So it could be that there's some naming and claiming and like work there. And if that's the case, you can look at my other videos where I go into those symptoms in a pretty in-depth way. And I'll link those somewhere around here. And it also could be time for an energy body upgrade. So again, this video is very specifically niched down for people in the cycle of transformation and in the Last Mask Center. And you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about with energy body upgrade. If you're watching this and you're not in those two communities, you may just be like, I don't know, sounds cool, but I don't know what you're talking about. Without going into it too deeply, when we're doing a lot of really beautiful, transformational, changing, and transforming work, we need to like discard the stuff that we're dragging around still from the old us. This can be so many things, and it's not really the topic of this video, so I'm not going to go into it, but it could be like lots of things. It could be some ritual baths, it could be some like clearings, actual clearings where you're just like, okay, inner healer, like what is the nervous system or energy body upgrade that I need right now that matches who I am now versus who I was last, whenever you started clearing. Let's see. Okay. And then finally, this can be building integrity with yourself and building your self-trust can feel like a little bit of a slow process. But what the hell else are you doing with your life? I mean, I'm kind of kidding about that, but like if you set a week or a month, or I mean, I don't know, you'd notice a huge change if you diligently did this for a week or a month. Set reminders in your phone and check back and see the change that happened. And regarding this, I really like what the Crappy Childhood Fairy says about this, which if you're not familiar with her work, look her up. She is absolutely incredible. And she says something to the tune of, if XYZ thing, so for our topic, if your trust in yourself was 10% better, would that make a difference in your life? And I have found that the answer is always yes. If that was 10% better, oh my God, that'd be great. That'd be amazing. It's this like broken-hearted culture, colonialism, like colonizer culture that we're just like, it has to be the best and the biggest and the most and the blah. And if you don't do it 110%, then don't bother. Like that whole gross, gooey thing. We can get that out of here. Just yuck. Like, however we can get that out of our lives, just let that go. Yeah, was I going to say anything else? I don't think I was going to say anything else about that. Okay, if you would like to know more about me and the stuff I do, you can go to my website. That is earthlypleasure.love. And you can find out, I do all kinds of various things in various capacities, so you can find out more about me there. You can also read my essays. And I will link info about the Last Mask Center and the cycle community in the description below. And we have, for those of you who have done energy body clearing and energy body mastery, we have a threshold process coming up. Oh my gosh. It's, I don't know, not the scope of this video, but it's a very cool week-long retreat that's happening in, I believe, April of 2027. And yeah, that only pertains to people who have done energy body mastery and energy body clearing, because those are the prerequisites to get into that. And I thank you so much. Thanks for having this conversation with me. All right. See you next time.